Hello, my name is Annette Mills, and I'm pleased to welcome you to the 2019 Community Scrapbook. Each year, the Corvallis Sustainability Coalition invites our partner organizations to share their primary accomplishments of the past year. In 2019, 51 of our partners responded, and we've compiled their responses into a community scrapbook slide presentation, along with the key accomplishments of our 12 action teams. Typically, we present the scrapbook during our annual Sustainability Town Hall, which is attended by hundreds of community members during the month of March. However, due to the coronavirus pandemic, we were unable to meet in person this year. But we wanted people to have an opportunity to learn about what some of our partners and our action teams had accomplished in 2019. So we decided to create this online version. Four of our coalition leaders will be narrating the slides, and the first is Jeanette Hardison, who co-leads our Waste Prevention Action Team.
350 Corvallis sponsored the Climate Justice March, declaring a climate emergency and calling for decisive action. 500 women scientists Corvallis distributed sustainability information at 13 local events, led 3 climate action educational events, and sponsored presentations at monthly TAP Talks. Abundant Solar successfully lobbied state legislators to pass an Oregon state rebate for solar electric and battery storage systems. They installed an 8.4 kilowatt solar electric system on Housing First's Dee Dee's home, offsetting the low-income residents' annual electricity usage, and they also installed multiple solar systems with backup battery and solar electric vehicle charging inverters. The Arts Center celebrated its Arts Alive event on the Arts Center Plaza to support local artists' creative economy. The Audubon Society of Corvallis connected 325 students with nature at local schools. They conducted 18 public field trips to natural areas and co-hosted the annual Winter Wildlife Field Day at Finley National Wildlife Refuge, drawing more than 700 participants. The Benton County Board of Commissioners signed a global climate crisis resolution, setting a stronger county greenhouse gas emissions reduction goal. They also installed solar panels at the renovated health department building and reduced their purchase of plastic trash bags at the Sunset building by 95%. That's 26,000 bags. The Benton County Master Gardener Association offered its first Spanish language Seed to Supper class, Siembra la Cena, helping beginning gardeners to grow food on a budget. Benton Habitat for Humanity completed their 39th home with energy-saving features built beyond code requirements, helping low-income homeowners meet monthly expenses. They also completed 17 critical repair projects, helping low-income homeowners improve energy efficiency. Their Habitat Restore resold, recycled, and repurposed hundreds of tons of usable goods to sustain our local environment and economy. The Benton Soil and Water Conservation District sold 5,700 native plants to be planted in Benton County. 1,000 Benton County residents, including 750 students, were served by 16 Salmon Watch field trips. They coordinated Lincoln School Family STEAM Night, providing an underserved population 30 activities hosted by 20 groups, each with a Spanish speaker. Shintimony Wildlife Center treated more than 2,000 injured and orphaned wildlife patients, a 20% increase from the previous year. Their Raptor Ambassador team delivered wildlife education to over 120 local groups and schools. The City of Corvallis identified energy-saving potential at its water treatment facilities and reduced its overall energy usage at Taylor by 5.5%. That's $17,000 in annual savings. The city installed 10 green-colored bike lanes to increase the visibility of bike lanes and reduce life-threatening crashes. They also installed the city's first buffered bike lane, a 6-foot stretch that increased ridership on Northwest Spruce Avenue by 250%. The Community Inclusion Action Team began training coalition action teams to use an equity impact assessment to integrate social equity into all their projects. The Corvallis Bicycle Collective turned its front parking space into a bike corral, making bike parking more convenient. Open Streets Corvallis inspired 2,000 people to use alternate sources of power and travel during a 4-hour event in South Corvallis. The event created a mile of walkable, bikeable streets with temporary traffic calming elements. The Corvallis Citizens Climate Lobby gained endorsements from Benton County Commissioners and the Corvallis City Council to support federal carbon fee and dividend legislation. They lobbied congressional offices 6 times and more than doubled their membership. The next narrator is Cindy Lolick, who serves on the Coalition's Executive Committee.
The Corvallis Daytime Drop-In Center provided basic needs to over 600 low to no income individuals every week. The Corvallis Environmental Center's Starker Arts Garden for Education donated over 10,000 pounds of fresh produce to those in need, built 3 new hoop houses to grow and donate more produce during the winter months, and initiated the Connecting Youth and Food program, bringing healthy food education to the Corvallis Boys and Girls Club. The Corvallis High School Green Club rallied more than 750 students to join the 1,200-person Global Climate Strike March and held an assembly to help students walk their talk. They also coordinated planting over 600 trees and built a mobile solar charging station. The Corvallis Multicultural Literacy Center helped 10 people from 5 different countries successfully pass the citizenship test. They added 3 English classes serving 60 to 70 students weekly, including new classes about the healthcare system and academic writing. Their Conversation Partner program grew by 20% with over 150 English-speaking volunteers. The Corvallis Public Schools Foundation funded a new chicken coop at Mountain View Elementary where students operate an egg business and funded the Classroom Food Adventures program and the Everyone Bikes workshop. So Corvallis High School students can learn bike maintenance skills and use those skills to serve the community. The Corvallis Rowing Club introduced more than 30 people to rowing and earned 29 national and international medals. The Corvallis School District hired its first sustainability coordinator to support district-wide sustainability efforts. They initiated a plan for solar installations at all district schools and saved over $50,000 by implementing energy efficiency measures. The Corvallis transit system added routes and Sunday service and increased frequency, providing 9,000 additional hours of service annually. The Corvallis Waldorf School expanded its agricultural program to include nature studies, gardening, and woodworking, giving students more than 9,500 hours of outdoor learning in the school's fields, forest, garden, and woodshop. Dev Northwest and the Corvallis School District won the Farm to Summer Challenge, providing locally grown food and farm-focused activities for children at Dev Northwest Lancaster Bridge property. Dev Northwest engaged 50 OSU students to improve the Leonard Street Community Garden and Tunison Park. The Economic Vitality Action Team co-sponsored the 9th annual Buy Local First Day and Holiday Contest, engaging thousands of community members to think local first when making purchases. The Saving Green program helped local businesses increase energy and water efficiency and save money. Lighting retrofits save more than 250,000 kilowatt hours annually, enough to power 33 homes for an entire year. Education Action Team members volunteered at 11 schools, promoting environmental education and helping them work toward Oregon Green School certification. The Energy Action Team worked with the city to develop building code updates to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. They also continued to work on a home energy score program that would require an energy score on all homes for sale. EnergyWise installed 480 kilowatts of solar, including 164 kilowatt our system at the Albany Boys and Girls Club and provided students with related educational tools. They also donated time and materials to install solar systems in remote areas of Haiti and Peru that previously had no electricity. Equilibrium Painting protected air quality using over 1,200 gallons of zero VOC paint on its painting contracts. They kept 250 gallons of paint solids from entering our groundwater and waterways using proper disposal techniques. First Alternative Co-op carried over 5,500 products from local farms and producers, keeping $6.7 million in the local economy and supporting the livelihoods of local workers. They also made cash and in-kind donations to local profits worth $13,500, including $3,000 to Stone Soup. The Food Action Team organized the 10th annual Local Eats Week, featuring locally sourced menu items at 14 area restaurants. They produced the 8th edition of the Corvallis Garden Resource Guide, and the 7th annual Edible Garden Tours served over 100 local residents. G. Christensen Construction donated labor to build 3 micro-shelters to be placed at the First Congregational Church as transitional living for the homeless. They had 24 kilowatt hours of solar installed on their cabinet shop and 5 kilowatt on their office. They also added 32 kilowatt hours of solar batteries to their shop for backups during emergencies. Solar arrays on their shop and office resulted in net positive energy production, generating more than 4,500 kilowatt hours of solar power to offset coal burning for other Pacific Power customers. The next narrator is Sami Al-Abdurrabba, who serves on the Coalition Steering Committee.
Greenbelt's Land Trust permanently protected 35 acres along Muddy Creek, preserving important riparian and prairie habitats. They restored floodplain hydrology along the Willamette River, removing a riverside road and connecting a side channel to the floodplain. And they led 35 public outings, engaging over 1,500 people in celebration of 30 years of protecting local natural areas. The Health and Human Services Action Team distributed more than 100 green cleaning kits to help local residents transition to non-hazardous, inexpensive cleaning products. They also provided indoor air quality monitoring for 52 homes, educating residents about how to prevent indoor pollutant. The Our Exchange hosted 4 marketplace events using our local currency. They provided over $25,000 of local currency, supporting more than 250 products and services. The Housing Action Team helped establish Safe Place to provide transitional housing at faith communities, coordinating the design and building of Benton County's first micro-shelters. They also developed resources and sponsored programs on how to energy retrofit existing homes. Jubilete presented their summer solstice concert at Chintimity Wildlife Center, raising more than $1,500 for wildlife rehabilitation. Kate Hickok Media Production filmed 8 interviews with doctors and community members about the merits of healthcare for all, and is creating a video to be broadcasted later this year. The Land Use Action Team focused on the connection between land use and parking, engaging community members in sharing their perspectives. The League of Women Voters of Corvallis sponsored a 3-part Know Your City series and 5 legislative updates featuring our state senator and representatives. They also organized programs on homelessness, urban renewal, and carbon pricing, and advocated on a variety of issues. The federal government approved the submission by the Mary's Peak Alliance of 10 indigenous names chosen by the Confederate Tribes of Siletz Indians and the Grand Ronde for creeks on Mary's Peak. They led over 1,000 people on guided hiking tours up Mary's Peak, showing the physical, ecological, and cultural features of this local icon. The Mary's Peak group of the Sierra Club honored the Mpinifu Kalapuya through a 3-part lecture series. Over 1,000 attendees heard presenters selected by the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde. They sponsored their 12th annual Corvallis Earth Day tour featuring large-scale energy systems at Oregon State University, Corvallis High School, and the city's wastewater treatment plant. The Marys River Watershed Council provided natural science outdoor education to over 900 Benton County K-12 students, including lessons for dual immersion students. They also coordinated the planting of 3,800 native plants in Benton County by Oregon State University students and community volunteers. The Mid-Valley Bicycle Club used mobile recycling systems to substantially reduce their trash production during 2 9-day loop tours. They also used carbon offset credits for use of their support vehicle on their 3-loop and mini-loop tours, and reusable serving ware for all loops, tours, and potluck events. The Natural Areas Action Team organized the 10th Annual Natural Areas Celebration Week, engaging hundreds of people at 27 events. The Oregon Clean Power Co-op used community investments from people like you to build over $500,000 worth of large-scale solar projects in 5 Oregon cities, including Corvallis. OSU Campus Recycling, Memorial Union, and Associated Students of Oregon State University launched Grads Give Back, collecting 70 used graduation gowns and giving them to under-resourced students. OSU Campus Recycling, University Housing and Dining Services, and Memorial Union Retail Food Services developed online trainings for students, food service, staff, and students to learn the how-tos of recycling. OSU Community Engagement and Leadership Development Field to Pantry, engaging more than 100 students in 257 service hours of gleaning and harvesting produce to address campus food security. Overall, they completed 87 service projects, engaging over 1,400 students for 3,571 service hours. The next narrator is David Eckert, leader of the Coalition's Water Action Team.
OSU Extension's Dry Farming Project promotes adaptation to climate change through efficient water management. 93 people took part in 3 dry farming field days, and 82 attended a dry farmed potato tasting event. Their 4-H Wildlife Stewards program served 17 classrooms, and 265 students shared their projects at the annual summit. Their bilingual Get Outdoors Day at PV Arboretum drew 600 youth and families for activities to promote healthy living and outdoor recreation. OSU's surplus property diverted more than 500 tons of OSU and governmental surplus out of the landfill and back into reuse by the community. OSU Sustainability Double Degree students spent 1,000 hours engaging in 58 projects with more than 30 community partners. The OSU Sustainability Office and partners repaired and upgraded the solar water heater on Kelly Engineering Center, funded by their first crowdfunding effort focused on carbon emissions reduction. They modernized and formalized an institutional energy policy and launched the OSU Green Lab certification to complement the OSU Green Office certification. They also improved and increased enforceability of their green building standards. OSU's transportation services hosted their first annual Biker Poke Ride to teach students the essentials of bicycling in Corvallis. The Lynn Benton chapter of the Pacific Green Party helped sponsor the Corvallis Eco Film Festival, as well as a forum on the Green New Deal. Power Up for Climate Solutions helped 150 members take climate actions and trained 6 OSU students in climate education and advocacy. Republic Services established a reliable market for number 5 plastic tubs and is now accepting them in curbside recycling carts, as long as they're empty, clean, and dry. They also distributed the Corvallis Recycling Yard Waste and Composting Guide, the first community-wide waste guide. Seeds for the Soul and their partners provided 20 low and middle income homeowners with 3 kilowatts of solar for 0 out-of-pocket costs. They also initiated a carbon offset fund that has accrued $10,000 and will revolve indefinitely to offset 25 tons of carbon compounding every year. 10 Rivers Food Web's Fill Your Pantry event supported 19 local food producers to sell $12,000 worth of food products to more than 300 local households. They also distributed 55,000 pounds of soil amendments and supplies to 153 local growers. The Time Gardens Hops Fields became certified organic. They hosted over 2,500 visitors for special events, tours, and luncheons that enhance appreciation of our environment at their Coast Range Herb Farm, and expanded their monarch butterfly habitat to provide food for the endangered monarch butterfly. The Transportation Action Team parked more than 500 bikes at community events through their Bike Mobile Bike Valet. They also sponsored 3 electric vehicle house parties for people eager to share and discover how to make the transition to fossil fuel-free mobility. The Waste Prevention Action Team's 90 volunteer block captains delivered waste prevention information to over 4,000 Corvallis area households 3 times a year. Their program to prevent wasted food reached 327 students through classroom presentations and 4,700 people through farmers markets and other outreach. The Coalition's Water Action Team resurrected the North Branch of Denewey Creek, allowing it to flow above ground for the first time in 100 years. And 125 volunteers planted 1,500 native riparian plants along the reviving creek. They also helped design and construct a regenerated wetland at Starker Arts Park to treat the overflow from the park's duck pond before it enters Denewey Creek. Wild East Bakery increased its human sustainability by adding a used, refurbished, small flour mixer that would have been discarded. When their bakery, Prius, needed to be replaced, they jumped to an all-electric Bolt to reduce local pollution impacts. Willamette Gardens Native Plants add 1,000-gallon rainwater harvesting tank to bring their storage capacity to 3,000 gallons to irrigate their young plants with clean, untreated rainwater for a healthier start in life. Willamette Grange number 52 rehabilitated and sustained their historic community building to preserve resources and inspire a more engaged community. The Coalition's Harvest Sunshine work group continued to host informational events that led to increased solar installations at homes, and businesses in our community. And last but not least, we launched Solarize Corvallis, a partnership between the Coalition and Oregon Clean Power Cooperative that enables community investment in large-scale solar projects at our schools, local government, low-income, and nonprofit buildings. We worked closely with the Corvallis School District to plan our first project at the district's administrative offices, a 150 kilowatt solar array with battery backup.
And those are just a few of the many projects that some of our partner organizations and our action teams pursued last year. Thank you, Jeanette, Cindy, Sammy, and David, for sharing the 2019 Community Scrapbook with us. And thank you for your volunteer service to our community. To learn more about the Corvallis Sustainability Coalition and our 380 partner organizations, visit us at sustainablecorvallis.org. We'll be back next year with more good news to share as we work together to create a sustainable community, one that values environmental quality, social equity, and economic vitality.